What's going on YouTube? This is Abhyuday Shukla and it's 26th of January 2021 here in India. So a happy Republic Day to all the fellow Indians out there. In this video, I'll be taking you through a tutorial on what are JSON Web Tokens, JWTs what we call it. And to make this video really quick and simple, I haven't covered the topics of generating the JWTs using algorithms and all the hashing part. I won't be covering that, but we'll be covering everything at a glance. Firstly, we'll be covering what are the use cases of JWTs, where they can be used. Next, we'll dive into understanding how this JWT gets implemented and what are all the parts of the JWTs. Thirdly, we'll be diving into how that JWT can be implemented over the code. So our code will be there that will be generating a JWT and verifying the very same JWT. So let's get started. We'll begin with understanding the story that happens over HTTP or HTTPS, you can say. So here we have a client and a server. Client can be anything from a browser to a mobile application. So it's just someone who is requesting the server to do some work. So at first, client wants to log in and it asks servers that I want to log in. So server in the response asks their username and password. Client replies with their username and password right over here, and then the server will authenticate the user whether they are registered in its repository or not, and then authentication will take place and server will respond with a successful login message. Along with it will supply a token, which is a JSON Web Token in the background scenes. So whatever we saw till now, that is this and this, was the authentication part. So up till here the token was generated and provided to the client. The client has its own choice whether it want to save it in a cookie for further usage or whatever it want to do. So now client also knows that the token has been supplied, but why that token has been supplied? So that token is for, as next time client doesn't have to authorize again with a username and password, because this token will be used to authorize the user their access and serve them accordingly. So the token that was passed by the server to the client was in essence a JWT, that is a JSON Web Token. In practice, it looks somewhat like this. That is a string of all the random alphabets, and the special thing to note down here is these two period symbols. So these two period symbols separate out three parts of a JWT. The first part is the header, which is marked in red color. The second part is the payload, which is marked in the pink color, and the third part is the signature, which is marked in the blue color. So these two are the period symbols, like they are over here. Next thing to note down here is signature is generated using the header, the payload, and a secret key. Now what is the secret key I just introduced? It's just a random set of alphabets, somewhat like a header, that are randomly created by you and kept in a safe place so that nobody else can access it. Like it can be kept in our database also. Next part is the header and the payload are base 64 encoded. It means header and the payload can be decoded or read by anyone using the standard base 64 decode strategy. So you have to note down that JWTs are not going to hide any information. They are just going to help you verify that whether a token has been expired or it has been tampered or not. So moving ahead, we'll just take a quick look on how the signature part gets generated. So header operated with a payload, altogether operated with a secret key that will be stored within our program or maybe database. An algorithm is applied and a signature is generated, and the generated token looks somewhat like this: the header, the payload, and the signature, which was obtained using header payload fused with a secret key. Moving ahead, I am into a website that is jwt.io. It has an online JWT debugger, or we can say encoder and a decoder tool. There are a couple of JSON Web Token encoders and decoders out there online. So I'll post the link of one in the description that I'm using for this tutorial. So as told that these are the encoders and decoders of JWTs. So likewise, if I have any JWT for suppose this type of a text, I can right away decode it, what are the header data and what is the payload data. Now let's first focus on the decoded parts of the JWT. The first part, as already told, is the header. It has the information about the algorithm being used for the encryption and the type of the token that is there. Next we move on to the payload, that is the second section of the JWT. You can see a key value pair sort of a JSON where keys are called the claims in case of payload. If you want to look at standard or registered claims, you can have a look at this. So there are a couple of claims over here. We have made use of a few of them. So one is the subject, another one is the name of the JWT, and last one is the issued at. This is basically the Unix time. So I can change the subject of the JWT. So if I change it, then this token is also going to change accordingly. So I'll change it to JWT tutorial, yeah, like this, and you can see the token also got changed. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use one secret key. So my YouTube, so this is the key that was used to encrypt this data, and a signature was generated. It's somewhat like this, that a header and a payload are operated with a secret key, which is my YouTube in our case, and an algorithm was applied that was HS256, and a signature was generated, and it was appended to the JSON web token body. So this is the generated token that we were talking about over here. Now if I want to verify that my token is correct or not, I'll just take a copy of this token into a separate location like over here, and we have to take the copy of our secret key that we used for generating this token. So let's keep the secret key like this, and someday if I come and I'll just try to guess that what was the secret key of my token. So I'll just go and write the key, so my trial key, and I'll try to paste that JSON token that was generated earlier. I'll paste it right over here, and I will get a message that it is an invalid signature. Why? Because header operated with a payload did not resulted in the signature that was made using this key. So the key, the secret key, our guessing was wrong, so that's why it was an invalid signature. Now what I'll do right away, I'll copy this my YouTube secret key, paste it right here, and again copy the token that I sent to the client, and again paste it. So this token was generated using secret key my YouTube, and yes, we can see that signature is verified. So you can assume that the token that we sent here was sent to the client, and then client only came to us and it wanted us to check whether that token was correct or not. So if anyone wants to tamper this token, like I try to add something to this token, first of all this will generate an error, or what we can do in other manner is we can change some other text and it will result in an invalid signature. So this is how JSON web tokens work in practice. So verifying a JWT is pretty easy. Again, we have to operate header with the payload. I've used a symbol O to demonstrate this operate, and then all together is operated with a secret key which is stored safely within our program, as I already stated, and the same algorithm is applied. That algorithm is already stored as an algorithm type in the header of the JWT, and if it results in the same signature as that was received from the JWT, the third part of the JWT, then token will be verified as true, otherwise the token will be verified as tampered or false, we can say. Beginning with the code level implementation, I am going to use a Spring Boot starter project, and for getting a project base I am here at Spring Initializer. It's basically a tool that you use to get a Spring Boot project running. So project is set to the Maven project and language is set to Java. Spring Boot version is 2.4.2, which looks good. I have set my group and artifact to org.app/ and JWT demo as the artifact. Packaging is set to jar and Java version 8 is what I am using. I have added Spring Web dependency just to keep it simple, and let's generate the project now. So here we are, we have got the zip of the project. I have opened this project in my Eclipse, so let's have a quick look at it. So there is our root package, which is org.app/jwt-demo. I'm going to open this. This is our main application class, which is going to launch the application. We can close it, not needed for now. We have to look at our pom.xml file, which will help us. So I've already added a dependency for JJWT, which is Java JSON Web Tokens. So you can pause the video and copy this. Otherwise, I'll paste the link of this Maven repository in the description. Also, to keep things very simple, I have added this one more dependency, that is Java XML bind JAX-B API. So let's close the POM. That's all what we need from this. Another thing I have created is the REST controller, which will be getting things to work. This is a REST controller annotated here. I'll take you through this class of the REST web controller. So there are 3 members of this class. The first member is a get token method, which is mapped in a get mapping with this endpoint, that is a get token endpoint. Another one is the verify token method. It's mapped with post mapping at this endpoint, verify token. And the final thing is their final static string, which is the secret key. I have generated this secret key out of nowhere, just randomly typed some characters, and yeah, I was good to go. So what will be happening, we will be first calling out this token, this endpoint, to finally get the token. Now token will be generated using the JWTS builder, where I have set the subject, that is the sub, to what do you call it, JWT tutorial, I guess. Yeah, it's right. I've set the issue time to the date object, which is the current time of my system. Set issuer, which is my name, and like these are already the registered claims, so a method was there for them. If you want to add a custom claim, you can add one using this method, claim hello. That's fine. And I've signed that token using the signature algorithm that was already decided. It was HS512. There are a couple of them. If you want to anytime want to change it, so there you can find. And the secret key I have employed over here. And all the token that is generated is sent to the string token, and that very same string is returned to us. Now, as soon as we get this string, we are going to send it back as a post, and that post is to verify that whether the token that was received was not tampered and so forth. So we are now going to have a look at the verify token method. It is going to receive a token named parameter, and that will be stored in token. So I have dropped a little log message right over here, token verification initiative sort of a thing. And why there is a try and catch, I'll shortly explain you. Let's first jump into getting the claims of the token. So the claims of the token are essentially this, that what we want. So here what I'm doing is I'm again making use of the signing secret key. I've used this type of a decryption over here, and I've passed the claims that were received from the token. This token was the JSON web token that was there with me. So it was this type of a string that I'm referring to. And if the claims dot get, if I want to get this claim, everything is stored in claims, and if I want to get this claim, and if that equals to hello, if the value of this claim is hello, then it is a valid token. If the token is tampered meanwhile, then there will be an exception that this library generates, or this operation generates. So there will be no claims that will be passed, and it will be reported with an invalid token. And we can also have a logging message that there was an error while parsing the message. I'm not going to write the full e.print stack trace statement right over here, because we have to keep it really simple and quick. So let's get this instance running. Okay, it's already there running. Yeah, it's there. So I'll just clear the console for now so that we can understand. Yeah, we are going to use Postman as our client application. So the Spring Boot application instance is already up and running at localhost 8080, and get token is the endpoint that we need to call to get the JSON web token. So I'm going to call it now. There we are, we have the JSON web token. and to verify this I have to take this verify endpoint into consideration, and I have to put the value of the gathered token in the token variable when I am sending the request. I understand it's not the right practice to send a token or such a large string over this, but just for sake of demo we can use this for now, and I'm going to send this, and I'm responded with a valid token message, like as it was sent, as it was written over here. It had everything and it was a valid token, so that is fine. If I'll try to tamper this token anyway, so I can remove some characters from here, and if I'll again try to send this token, the message that I'll get is an invalid token. So anyway, if you tamper the JSON web token, the request of carrying it will also be discarded if you create such functionality over your backend application, like how I've created over here. I've just passed a message like invalid token. So an invalid token throws an exception which gets caught. Next we are going to have a look at expired JSON web token, why I have specially made it. So let's check it again. So now a little modification to our code has been done. So what I have done here now is I have captured the time of my system and created two variables with this. First is the issue time, which has the current system time, and another is a date object which has the current system time plus 1000 milliseconds to it. So it's gonna be like I will be issuing a token with its expiration time 1 second ahead of its issued time. So if I do issue it at t1, at t plus 1 second it's gonna expire. It's a very short-lived token that I have created. So very same token will be, when verified, it will be throwing a expired JWT exception, because expired JWTs also throw an exception like an invalid JWT. However, if you want to parse that JWT, or if you want to get the claims of that JWT, it's simply going to be that you can use the exception variable, that is E, and you can use the method get claims, which will get you all the claims, and you can specifically get issuer. So currently my issuer is set to Abhyuday, which is my name. So even if I pass expired JSON web token, still the claims will be parsed and we can see the issuer name over here. So let's get our instance running. Our instance is up and running, and let's get the token again like this. So if you wanna just decode this token, you can right away use this. So you can see now the token is going to expire at 20:21:32, whereas it was issued at 20:21:31 immediately after 1 second. So by now I think the token must have expired. So let's use it over here, and I'm going to send it. I'm going to be reported with an invalid token message, but we can see in the log that token was expired, but still the claim was able to be captured. So that's how the expiry of the token works. That was all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if it did help you, do like and subscribe my channel. Until then, this is Abhyuday Shukla. I will see you soon. Bye bye.